So I've been working on some different forms to add to this pinch pot I have. At first I did that on both sides, and then I was just thinking of doing it on one side, and then I got longer, and then I kind of like this, which looks like a cactus, really. I like that. They don't have to be these shapes. I also made some of these, kind of similar to what Angela had in her piece. I was thinking about using that. And then here is the pinch pot. I'm going to add these two, and I'm just going to start scoring them on and attaching them. But I like to get, I think, like I was saying, I am going to go with this, but right now I only have one of these, so I need to make a bunch more of these. And these, I started out by taking some clay and rolling it out first by hand. And then, doesn't work very well to roll it on a rag, but it will work good on your table as long as your table is clean. Or you can come up to the table at the front of the room or on the side of the room that has the canvas on top. That works good for rolling out coils. So I am putting some pressure straight down, and I'm rolling it back and forth, but I'm also expanding out my fingers to kind of help to even out the clay and stretch out the coil. If clay is too dry, it's difficult to make coils with. But so if you are having problems with it just breaking and cracking on you, let me know and I can make sure the clay is damp enough. And then, like I had done with this previous coil, I just cut a bunch of random lengths. And then I'm just gonna do some smoothing here. A little bit there. And then to make the way I made that last one, I was just using a pointer tool and just kept putting line after line after line. And then when I'm doing something like this, I'd like to get around 10 to 15 of these before I start attaching them. So I'm gonna stop the video for a minute, make a bunch more of these, and then I'll show you how to attach them to the piece. But you can see where I'm headed. Okay, this is enough to get started and to explain how to attach things. Now, when I have one piece of clay, I want to attach to a second piece of clay. There are three things that need to happen. The surface of where they're going to meet. So the surface here and the surface here need to be scored. And to score something means to kind of rip up the surface. And it also needs to have what's called slip. If you mix some clay with some water, you get slip, which is kind of like glue. But what I do is this is where I buy these are called feather tools, because if you just scratch across the surface, here, I'll show you. They kind of make a feather-like texture. But I use them, that's also how you score up a surface, is to go across there and just kind of make indentations and rip up the surface. However, as I score, I get water on there first, and you can see how it got kind of muddy on the surface. So the clay and the water mix together to actually make slip right on the end of that piece. And usually when I'm doing a bunch of these on a piece like this, I will score a larger area and just start plopping these on there. The slip will kind of build up on the little scoring tool. So I try to get that back off. So I've told you two of the things. One is to score, the second is to have slip, and the third is to apply pressure. So I don't want to just set this on here. I actually want to put some firm pressure on there. Like that. So when I attach things, they need to be somewhat firm. They shouldn't be super flexible. And you can attach items of clay that are all the way up to leather hard. You want the moisture, the amount of moisture in your piece to be relatively close to the amount of moisture you're attaching it to. So you wouldn't want to take some really soft clay and try to attach it to something that's leather hard, because as it dries, it will shrink more than the leather hard part, and it will end up probably snapping off. And I am just going to keep on going, attaching these pieces. All right. So you can kind of get a little closer look at that. So I've made a beginning. How many is that? 4, 8, 12, like 13 or 14, something like that. So I'm well on my way. I could easily get 50 on here. With something this long and delicate, as I'm coming, I probably wouldn't want to attach onto this thing much further down than here, like this level here. So I've got something to grab onto when I pick this thing up, because if these came all the way down and straight off, it would be hard to keep this thing safe and get it to fire without those snapping off. So that's the basic procedure for making one of these, and you just keep going, keep making more of whatever your little form is and scoring them and adding them on, and Once I get to the end, like if I was going to stop here, I would smooth all this out. You see, it helps to have some water and a towel to dry your hand, but you can see here it is possible to just smooth out an area. Also, in the containers up at the front of the room on the table with the canvas, there are different paint brushes that you can use to clean up areas where you've scored and there's excess. These work really well. So even though I am going to keep adding, but I just wanted to show you how you can use one of these brushes to clean up an area where you had previously scored but no longer wanted it to look like that. There we go. I could just finish that off, smooth that out a bit with my finger. So that is the end of this demonstration. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing what you make. Because, hey, that's my job.